transportation?
Well, I think we do need long-term funding for our transportation needs, but I don't believe that increasing prices on gasoline taxes to close the gap is actually a long-term solution. The fact is, because of more fuel efficiency, because of more mass transportation, things, by the way, that we try to encourage with federal policy, it is a diminishing curve in terms of the revenues that we can expect in the future, and so it's not actually a long-term funding solution. What I would prefer to see is for us to lift the moratorium off of our drilling off of our deep sea coast, which has been in place since President Obama and Senator Warner took office. That would allow us to have lease sales that would result in revenue here in Virginia. If you went by the traditional split, 37% to the Commonwealth versus the federal government, it would be about $400 million annually to our state treasury that could go into transportation. I also believe that if we were to lift the much of the moratoria on production on federal lands as well, that we could get, that could be a source of revenue for transportation, and there is a logical tie-in there. And that would also not have the same negative punitive impact on consumers, because a gasoline tax increase is a regressive tax. The fact is that lower income families pay a greater percentage of their income for gasoline and energy costs than do higher income families. And they're already seeing the effects of policies from this administration which have driven up the cost of a gallon of gas. When Senator Warner took office promising that he would bring down the price of energy by his votes in the Senate, you could fill a 15-gallon tank for $28. Today it would cost more like $55. It's nearly double what it was just in January of 2009. And so I don't think we need to increase that burden and that cost on consumers with a regressive tax hike. By the way, most of us don't fill our tank. Most of us, when we go to the gas station, we put down $10 or $20 and we squeeze out as much from the pump as we can. And today, for 20 bucks, you get a little over 5.5 gallons of gas. It used to be 10.5 gallons of gas when Mark Warner took office. That's why so many Virginians are feeling squeezed between higher prices for health care, like we just talked about, health insurance premiums, for the price of a gallon of gas. Food costs are going up. Commodities have increased since 2009. And squeezed by those higher prices and lost jobs and lower take-home pay and reduced hourly wages as a result of the mandates, regulations, and taxes that Senator Warner supported as well. I would take a different approach, and that includes a long-term approach to our transportation funding that does not rely on a tax increase that's regressive or on a source of funding that long-term is not likely to be sustainable.